Hello and welcome to Debating the Divine. Today's program is about a conversation between Prophet Muhammad and a group of atheists who wanted to convince the Prophet that the universe is eternally pre-existent. 5 atheists came to the Prophet and challenged him.
We believe that the universe has been eternally pre-existent, and we also believe that it will remain eternal.
They then said to the Prophet,
If you accept our beliefs, you should accept that atheism is better than your faith. However, if you don't accept what we presented to you, we should debate this together.
Prophet Muhammad turned to them and asked them their reason for their belief that the universe has no beginning and will exist forever. The atheists started with their argument, saying to the Prophet,
Well, first, we haven't observed anything in the universe coming into existence. Therefore, our conclusion is that the universe has always existed. At the same time, as we haven't observed the destruction of the universe, we conclude that it will exist forever.
This was the entirety of their argument. The Prophet first asked them to clarify whether they meant that the universe is eternal or eternally pre-existent. Then he brought an example for them to consider. He wanted them to reflect on whether they as humans remain in the same physical and intellectual state forever. He pointed out that if they thought so, then they would have refuted their own argument. The atheists immediately replied,
No, we don't consider the universe pre-existent or everlasting.
Prophet Muhammad asked of them why they first claimed that objects in the universe are pre-existent and eternal, just because they hadn't observed them coming into being. He suggested that it would be better if they simply admitted that the universe did come into existence and that it is perishable. To explain this better to them, he presented the example of day and night, reminding them that day and night follow each other. He asked them whether they consider that day and night are eternal. The atheists replied,
Yes, we consider day and night to be eternal.
Prophet Muhammad then asked them a further question, namely whether they thought that day and night can coexist. The atheists answered,
No, we don't think that day and night can coexist.
Therefore, the Prophet posed another question to them. He asked them whether it is the case or not that with day and night, one in a sense separates from the other and comes forward and the other follows after. The atheists said to the Prophet,
Yes, we think that is true.
The Prophet pointed out to them that what this actually meant was that both day and night come into existence even though it hasn't been observed how it happens. He told them that this meant that their whole prior argument was spurious and that they would have to reject their own argument. The atheists said,
All we are saying is that the universe is pre-existent because its coming into being hasn't been observed.
The atheists realized that they had to agree with the Prophet and abandon their own argument. Prophet Muhammad explained to them that everything in the universe is dependent on something else in the universe because everything is connected with other things in some way. He also used the example of a building, describing to them how all the parts of a building are dependent upon one another, for otherwise the building would not be stable. It is reported that at this point, the atheists were truly baffled because they realized from what Prophet Muhammad had told them that it was impossible for things that depend on each other, which have a beginning, to then also acquire characteristics of things that were eternally pre-existent. Their whole line of reasoning had just been destroyed. After this, the atheists withdrew from the debate and asked of the Prophet,
Could you please allow us some time for reflection?
However, after a few days, they all embraced Islam. That was it for today, and we hope you check out the previous episodes of Debating the Divine.